too close for comfort, won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of the Gen X Files. Welcome to the Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about Jeopardy!
Jeopardy!
I'm in Jeopardy,
Baby. Ooh. Yeah, it's been running through
awful.
my head for like a week. Yeah, I'm not a singer.
No, you were great. Yeah, Jeopardy, baby.
Jeopardy, start of our game show month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Come on down. But that's not really Jeopardy.
That's not Jeopardy. That'll be
Jeopardy
next
is
week.
just kind of like, Jeopardy. Yeah, it's very low key.
Yeah. Take yourself back to 1984.
Ooh.
May 8th, the Chicago White Sox defeat the Milwaukee Brewers 7-6 in the longest game in Major League Baseball history. 25 innings, totaling 8 hours and 6 minutes.
Oh, that's my hell. Oh,
This is why I wanted to talk about it.
baseball is so effing boring, man. I remember that, too. I remember...
That's a long game. I mean, that's like 2.5 games. Like, that's crazy.
It's
even more than
baseball's
that.
the
It's
most
almost 3
boring. Any
games.
sport where you can be really fat. It's like bowling, baseball, I don't know. I played baseball. It's not that hard.
The funny thing is most of the bowling guys are pretty fit. Baseball guys, not so.
I played. It's not that hard.
June 8th, Michael Larson, a Mr. Softy ice cream truck driver, wins $110,237, or $283,000 equivalents in today's dollars, plus trips to the Bahamas, Kauai, and a sailboat.
Damn.
On the TV show Press Your Luck. It was the most anyone had ever won on a single episode of a game show at the time. He eventually revealed he'd memorized the flashing light sequence, of which there were only 5, but CBS eventually paid him his money and his prizes, since there were no specific rules that a contestant couldn't do that.
Nice.
Now, the irony is that someone who would do this eventually lost all his money in the next 2 years.
Well, this was everything back then was patterns, baby. Like,
Yeah.
all the great Donkey Kong players and all the great Pac-Man players.
Yeah, it was about memorizing, yeah.
memorizing patterns, man. The 80s, how you won was you memorize the patterns, man.
Well, the funny thing with this, and there's a couple of really
Stock
great...
market. Memorizing patterns.
There's a couple of pretty great documentaries about it, but in this guy. But essentially, it's really CBS's fault, because when they made the pilot, it was supposed to be just the 5.
Yeah.
And then they were supposed to do more,
Sure.
but they just never did.
Right, because they're lazy.
But unfortunately, Michael Larson eventually ended up selling bogus securities on the stock exchange and died from cancer while being sought by the FBI in 1999, shortly before his 50th birthday.
So are you saying that cheating on a game show gives you cancer?
Well, now, but the thing is he wasn't cheating. He just played the game in a way they weren't expecting.
It's like counting cards. It's a skill.
Yeah.
They say it's cheating, but it's just gaming the system, man. And that's all it is. It's a game. However you win is however you win.
Yeah.
It's not like he cheat. You're right. It
He
wasn't a
didn't
cheat.
cheat.
He just gamed the system. He figured out the system and he exploited it. That's smart.
It's just too bad that
You sound like,
it
it's just taxes. He's smart, You guys don't pay taxes.
Yeah, but anyway.
I don't know.
July 25th, Salyut 7, cosmonaut Svetlana Savitskaya becomes the first woman to perform a spacewalk.
Nice. Did she walk like an Egyptian?
She walked like a Russian.
Nice. Walk like a Russian.
On September 10th, the syndicated version of Jeopardy, hosted by Alex Trebek, premieres.
It's Jeopardy with Alex Trebek.
I want to say, I think it was actually, I think it was Don Pardo that did the...
Don Pardo.
I think so. I could be wrong. So, obviously, Jeopardy did not start in 1984. It actually started in 1963. In a 1963 Associated Press profile released shortly before the original Jeopardy series premiered, Merv Griffin offered the following account of how he created the quiz show.
My wife, Julianne, just came up with the idea one day when we were in a plane bringing us back to New York City from Duluth. I was mulling over game show ideas when she noted that there has not been a successful question and answer game on the air since the quiz show scandals. Why not do a switch and give the answers to the contestant and let them come up with a question? She fired out a couple of answers to me, 5,280. And the question, of course, was how many feet in a mile? In other words, 79 Wistful Vista. Well, that was Pepper McGee and Molly McGee's address. I love the idea. Went straight to embassy with the idea, and they bought it without even looking at a pilot show. I'm Merv effing Griffin.
Yeah, he ended everything he said with "I'm Merv effing Griffin."
He earned it, baby.
Yeah, he did. He was an American television show host and media mogul. I think everyone that watches Jeopardy knows who the name Merv Griffin. Maybe not realizing exactly who he is.
Favorite thing Merv Griffin ever did?
What?
Man with Two Brains.
Oh,
Steve
yeah.
Martin.
Yeah, nice. That's right.
It's the greatest cameo ever. Merv Griffin? It's just... Oh, man. I'm not going to spoil it, even though it's a million-year-old movie, but watch The Man with Two Brains, baby.
Great movie.
Woof.
So Merv began his career as a radio and big band singer, later appearing in film and on Broadway, as well as hosting game shows, filling in on The Price is Right, and To Tell the Truth. From 1965 to 1986, he hosted his own talk show, The Merv Griffin Show.
Ah, such a great show.
He also created the game shows Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
This guy, man.
He was a force.
Yeah. No, he was a mogul. He was amazing at what he did, and he had a neck. I mean, the fact that Jeopardy was just he and his wife kibitzing on a plane.
Yeah.
Let's
do this.
A game show about, we haven't had a quiz show in a while, and then, 50 years later, here we are. It's, still going strong.
Yeah, exactly. Griffin's first conception of the game used a board comprising 10 categories with 10 clues each, but after finding that this board could not easily be shown on camera, he reduced it to 2 rounds of 30 clues each with 5 clues in each of 6 categories. He originally intended requiring grammatically correct phrasing, like only accepting who is for a person. But after finding that grammatical correction slowed the game down, he decided to accept any correct response that was in question form.
Yes.
Yeah, which makes more sense. He's not a grammar Nazi.
Well, I mean, I think it should be, but,
Well, yeah.
But, to whom it may concern, on deaf ears it falls.
Griffin discarded his initial title of What's the Question when Skeptical Network executive Ed Vane rejected his original concept of the game, claiming,
It doesn't have enough Jeopardies.
Which is such a random...
I need some Jeopardies. Hey, Griffin.
Yeah.
Where are the Jeopardies? Where's the Jeopardies in the name? I need some Jeopardies. What do you think we're going to call this? We need Jeopardies in it. What do you think we should call it?
What's the
Jeopardies.
question? Oh.
Jeopardies. We need Jeopardies.
Okay.
Japanese Jeopardies.
What?
Hey, it's
Japanese
time.
Jeopardies?
Yeah,
Okay.
I need some Jeopardies.
The format of giving contestants the answers and requiring the questions had previously been used by the Gil Fates hosted program CBS Television Quiz, which aired from July 1941 until May of 1942.
Interesting. Wait, I just want to go back for a second. Is that really how it became known as Jeopardy? Is because the guy said it didn't have enough Jeopardies?
Yeah. I mean, this is according to Merv Griffin. I mean, he was a showman.
He's like,
so who
I don't know. So he probably was like, okay, Ed, I don't know. Why don't we just call it Jeopardy then?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. That's enough Jeopardies.
Yeah.
That's at least one Jeopardy.
We get 2. We got double Jeopardy.
Yeah, we need double Jeopardies.
The original daytime version debuted on NBC on March 30th, 1964, and aired until January 3rd, 1975.
Nice.
A nighttime syndicated edition aired weekly from September 1974 to September 1975.
That, I think, was kind of the revival of game shows where they were putting them on prime time.
Yeah.
I really remember game shows coming back in the 70s as a little kid.
Because Match Game was early 70s. It was like 70, 71 or something. It started doing the primetime stuff.
Yeah.
Where you could hang out with your friends, your celebrity friends.
Well, yeah, and also they needed, it was cheap programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they could get these, celebrities that were not getting as much work as they used to for a pretty good bargain.
Yeah.
Come on and get drunk on this game show. We'll give you a scale.
It's an extra paycheck. You
give you a steak dinner and scale and a limo ride to and from the place.
A revival, the all-new Jeopardy, ran on NBC from October 1978 to March 1979 on weekdays. Art Fleming hosted all versions of Jeopardy between 1964 and 1979.
Art Fleming.
During the course of his run on Jeopardy, he was nominated for 2 Emmy Awards and became widely known for his trivia knowledge. Throughout his career, Fleming starred in about 5,000 episodes of television programs and 48 motion pictures.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. He worked a lot.
He was busy.
He was. By the end of the 1960s, Jeopardy was the second highest-rated daytime game show behind only the Hollywood Squares.
Center. Circle gets the square.
Center gets the square.
And to center. Okay, we have Paul Lynn in the center square. Paul, what is the longest way to get to the Grand Ole Opry? The longest way? Oh, I don't know. On your knees?
It's funny is I didn't realize the Hollywood Scores were that old.
I
thought
know.
they started in the early 70s.
We weren't as cheeky back then.
No. The program was successful until 1974 when Lynn Boland, then NBC's vice president of daytime programming, moved the show out of the noontime slot where it had been located for most of its run as part of her effort to boost ratings among the 18 to 34 female demographic.
Yeah, this was kind of sexist, but it was like, the women are at home doing the do.
Yeah,
Let's get them some soaps.
Yeah,
they don't want to watch the game shows. They want the soaps. They want their stories.
Why do they need to watch those game shows? Yeah,
Giving them false hope.
After 2,753 episodes, the original Jeopardy series ended on January 3rd, 1975. To compensate Griffin for its cancellation, NBC purchased Wheel of Fortune, another show that he had created, and premiered it the following Monday.
Damn.
The original Wheel of Fortune was hosted by Chuck Woolery.
Chuck Woolery.
I only included this because I'm not a huge fan of Wheel of Fortune. It's fine.
Sure.
But the only reason it exists is because Jeopardy got canceled.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that it is on the air.
It was the second game show that I auditioned for.
No, yeah.
The first being Jeopardy.
Jeopardy, yeah. A syndicated edition of Jeopardy distributed by Metro Media and featuring many contestants who were previously champions on the original series aired in primetime from 74 to 75. Unique to this version was a bonus awarded at the end of the program after Final Jeopardy was completed. The episode's champion selected a prize hidden behind the 30 squares on the Jeopardy board. Among the prizes was a $25,000 cash award, which was hidden behind 2 squares.
Ooh.
In order to win the top prize, the champion had to find both $25,000 cards in succession, winning the prize on the second pick if it was not the latter half of the grand prize.
Weird.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, and it just shows they were trying to make it more game showy than quiz showy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't reward you for anything except for your guessing.
Yeah, your luck.
Prowess.
Yeah, just ridiculous. In later episodes, the bonus board was dropped, and the evening's champion received a prize based upon his or her final score, with a Chevrolet Vega or Chevy Caprice,
The Chevy Vega.
or even additional cash prizes of $10,000 or $25,000 as possibilities.
Nice.
The original run of Jeopardy and the syndicated version were recorded at 30 Rockefeller Plaza in New York.
Yeah, we're Saturday Night Live.
A million things, yeah.
30 Rock and...
Oh, 30 Rock!
The
That makes more
show
sense. No, I'm just kidding.
was, maybe is. I think Seth Meyers' show
I think he's...
is there now.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
I think the original Tonight Show with Jack Pa was at 30 Rock.
Oh, yeah. The NBC daytime series was later revived as the all-new Jeopardy, which premiered on October 2nd, 1978, and aired 108 episodes ending on March 2nd, 1979. This revival featured significant rule changes, including progressive elimination of contestants over the course of the main game, and a Super Jeopardy bonus round based loosely on bingo instead of Final Jeopardy.
Weird.
Yeah, it's just odd. So odd.
Well, they didn't know how to jazz it up, and they thought they had to jazz it up.
Yeah. There were so many other game shows at the time that were super popular.
Everything. The pressure, the whammy one, and the
Press Your Luck was
Press Your
later
Luck.
in the 80s.
No, I'm just saying, like, things got progressively more and more wacky.
Yeah,
with more
yeah.
gimmicks. So it's like they had to. The executives were like, well, how do we church this up, man? We got to give it a little oomph. We got to give it a little goombadigi,
I think a lot of it too was that The Price is Right had premiered in 1972, and it was huge. So I think there was a lot of trying to make it more chancy and not so much like, hey, you have to know everything.
Well, let's be honest, okay? The Price is Right is every man's game show. You do not need to be smart.
Yeah.
You need to be savvy, and you need to know prices.
You got to know prices.
You got to know your S when it comes to P's. Your stuff when it comes to prices.
Oh, right. Okay.
But Jeopardy is, you got to be kind of smart, man. You got to know some stuff. And not just, like who played what in Greece. You got to
there's some knowledge. There's some
Byzantine
deep
history and some, talk about the Montagues and the Capulets and Romeo and Juliet and things. Who are those guys? What was Falstaff's deal?
Very large.
Shakespeare.
Large man.
Yeah, so smart.
So this version of the show was recorded in Burbank, California. Fleming later stated that he disagreed with moving the show to Southern California as he considered the contestants there to not be as appealing as those who played the game in New York were.
I don't know. They're probably better looking.
He cited it as one of the main reasons he did not return to the series when it was revived again 5 years later.
He didn't want to move. That's BS. He just didn't want to move. He didn't want to go to... He liked being in New York, man. He was a New York snob. I don't blame him. I mean, but New York and L.A. were so at odds back then, even more so than now. It was very much like, the New York snobs thought this was just a wasteland of pot-smoking hippies and dumb dummies.
Surfing hippies, it's all we are out here in Southern California.
Blonde bombshells. Cowboys. Surfing cowboys.
Surfing cowboys?
Yeah, man.
I got surfing. It's like Urban Cowboy, but Surfing Cowboy?
Yep.
Yeah,
that was the sequel that almost got made to Urban Cowboy. Surfing Cowboy.
Surfing Cowboy?
Yeah, they moved out to California.
Yay, I'm surfing here!
To have a ranch, and John Travolta would, because he was the Urban Cowboy.
What was I thinking? I was thinking of the...
Were you thinking of Rhinestone?
No, what was the one with John Voight and...
Dustin Hoffman. Midnight Cowboy.
Midnight Cowboy.
Very different cowboy movie.
Very different cowboy movie.
That was
true.
in New York. That was the New York cowboy movie.
Yeah.
But
no, Urban Cowboy was John.
Surfer Cowboy. John Travolta and Deborah Winger decide to move their cowboy shtick out west. Because Travolta's like, what's more western than California? It's in the west. And she's like, that's a good idea. And so they go out, and nobody's coming to their pony show because they have a little pony show. I like ponies, he decides, right?
Yeah.
And so nobody's coming to the pony show. So he has the idea to put the pony and himself on a surfboard. And they surf it in, baby. And when they come riding in on that wave and galloping, it's actually because it's the sand. They come galloping off of that surfboard. Everybody's like, oh, my God, you're a surfer cowboy. And he's like, oh, my God, I'm a surfer cowboy. And then they get super popular, but it drives them apart. And Whoopi Goldberg comes in and helps them get back together because he's a ghost now. Because he died when he was surfing on the pony. The pony died. And so they bring the pony back. Whoopi Goldberg does. And then they win the race. And they get enough money to save the farm. I did it. That's the last line. I did it.
I'm going to say not one of your better pitches.
Something to cut out.
But
now.
that's something that would certainly get made. So the daily syndicated version debuted on September 10th, 1984, and was launched in response to the success of the syndicated version of Wheel of Fortune in 1983.
Nice. That sounds so ominous. Wheel of Fortune, 1983, in a dystopian future.
The popularity of Trivial Pursuit and the installation of electronic trivia games in pubs and bars encouraged them to do a trivia show again. This version introduced updated technology to the program, replacing the former manually operated game board featuring clues printed on pull cards with television monitors to display the clues.
Nice.
Yeah, technology, baby. One significant difference from the 1964 to 75 versions was that only the winning contestant kept his or her earnings, while the runners-up were awarded higher-end consolation prizes instead. Later, it was changed to $2,000 for second place and $1,000 for third.
For our departing losers, we have Turtle Wax for waxing your car, and also the home game of Jeopardy. Take Jeopardy home with you and play with your family all year long.
Although most consolation prizes were usually trips. You could literally get on the show, lose, and still get a trip to Bali.
But you'd also get this stuff. And also brought to you by Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Treat your family to Rice-A-Roni.
Alex Trebek was tapped to host the show when Art Fleming turned it down. Lucille Ball was actually a major factor in convincing Merv Griffin to hire Trebek for the new syndicated Jeopardy.
That's so weird. How?
They were friends. Ball and Merv Griffin were friends, and she had met Trebek at a party.
Really?
And
What
and,
a nice,
and
what
they
an
hit it
awesome
off, and she was her and Griffin were close. So like she was like, you should hire this guy. He's really good. Alex Trebek suggested Johnny Gilbert, whom he'd met at a party a couple of years ago, to announce the show. A lot of parties happening that people just hang out at.
That's what it was like back then. Everybody was doing coke, partying.
Does anybody remember anything?
They all had mustaches, baby, because those were the coke catchers. Then at the end of the night, you'd flip your little mustashy up and go, leftovers.
Saving that for later. The show was slow to pick up an audience at first due to unfavorable time slots. Jeopardy became successful in the New York City market, the largest TV market in the country, due to ABC canceling the 28-year-long running soap opera The Edge of Night, which aired at 4 p.m., which, I gotta be honest, I had no idea even existed until I started reading about Jeopardy.
I knew of The Edge of Night.
Ran for 28 years. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, all those soaps. There's still soaps on today that have been going for 60 years.
Yes. There's one soap in particular that is... God, I just looked this up. For
Guiding Light, maybe? Or?
No, it'll be in the... I'll talk about it in the Price is Right.
For the Love of Boogers?
Yes.
That's
For the Love of Boogers.
For the Love of Boogers.
I want to say it might be All My Children, but anyway.
All My Children.
Seeing the success of the show in the New York City market, other markets aired in or around the same time slot. Since its debut, the syndicated version of Jeopardy has gone on to win 16 Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Game/Audience Participation Show.
Nice.
16 wins. It's pretty nice.
Yes, it is, Adam.
Since the debut of Jeopardy in 1964, several songs and arrangements have been used as the theme music, most of which were composed by Merv Griffin.
Is that Jeopardy?
I don't know.
My love's in jeopardy. Is that Jeopardy?
No, that's like the Greg Kinn Band or something. The main theme for the original Jeopardy series was Take 10, composed by Griffin's wife, Jewel Ann.
Ooh, they were a good team.
They were. They worked well together.
Yep, you get a lot done when you're not making love.
The all-new Jeopardy opened with January, February, March, and closed with Frisco Disco, both of which were composed by Griffin himself. And reading the names again, it makes sense that he was a closeted gay man. Oh, that's the
I know,
game.
but that's the only. The only Jeopardy one I know is.
Well, the new one is different. So it's the best known theme song on Jeopardy, as Jim just sang, was called "Think," originally composed by Griffin under the title "A Time for Tony" as a lullaby for his son.
That's super cute. And whenever we're in a meeting, and you propose something, I'm like, how do I need to have a think? Yes, Adam, I think that's a good idea.
Think has always been used for the 30-second period in Final Jeopardy when the contestants write down the responses, and since the syndicated version debuted in '84, a rendition of that tune has been used as the main theme song.
Yep, and it's also in the zeitgeist. When everybody has to wait for anything, they always think the Jeopardy theme song.
It has become so popular, it's been used in so many different contexts, from sporting events to weddings. Its 30-second countdown has become synonymous with any deadline pressure. As Jim pointed out, that he does that every time he thinks.
Yes, it's the only way I can think.
Because there's deadline pressure. Griffin estimated that the use of Think has earned him royalties of over $70 million throughout his lifetime.
I paid him $626.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we're going to pay him more after they hear this episode. Think led Griffin to win the Broadcast Music, the BMI President's Award in 2003.
The Body Mass Index Award?
Body Mass Index Award, yeah.
Nice. He had some good... muscle tone.
Body Mass Index President's Award.
Ooh.
Sorry.
That's for doing a lot of push-ups and pull-ups in school?
Yeah. You do it while you do the song. If you can do as many as you can in the 30 seconds.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was really into that. The Presidential Medal of Freedom of Exercise Award.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom of Exercise Award?
Get to the jungle gym.
You get to the freedom to exercise?
Yes.
So, for the original Jeopardy series, prospective contestants contacted the production office for New York to arrange an appointment and to preliminarily determine eligibility. They were briefed and auditioned together in groups of 10 to 30 individuals, participating in both a written test and mock games. Individuals who were successful at the audition were invited to appear on the program within approximately 6 weeks. With the new syndicated version, since 1984, prospective contestants began with a written exam comprising 50 questions. The exam is administered online periodically, as well as being offered at regional contestant search events. It's actually now strictly online. They don't even do the in-person anymore, and that was even before the pandemic, which you have auditioned and done the 50-question test.
I did. I made it to the second round. We went in. It's kind of stupid, but my friend and I had this wacky summer. It was we were both freshmen in college. It was after our freshman year, and we shared this apartment in San Diego. And I had all these jobs. I kept getting fired. I was so irresponsible that summer. So irresponsible. And we needed money. So, hey, let's go get on a game show. Not realizing, even if we did get on, there was like so many problems with this scheme, by the way.
You wouldn't see the money for like a year.
We figured we'd get on, we'd win, and we'd make a bunch of money. We'd go back and big bop boop. Such idiots. I can't even believe we made it to the second round. But so we get to, I think it was like Radford Studio. I'm not sure. CBS, I think. This was back in the time, too, before like real security, whatever. So we get on the lot to go to the audition, but we get lost. And we're just like running around sets. Like we're in the set to Wheel of Fortune. We're on like the set, like there's some tore down set, and they're putting up a new set. And we're just running around. Nobody knows. Nobody cares.
Nobody's questioning why these kids are
bump into Lou Diamond Phillips, who was on his Super La Bamba fame. The guy was, he was a young gun.
Yeah, that was actually right around that time.
A young gun, too. No, he was very popular. So we run into him, and we're like, hey, go, you know what the Jeopardy auditions are? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. We're like, well, we're good at you. He was so nice and whatever, but we were just a couple of deebs.
Such an asshole to him.
Oh, my God. Oh, my friend was such a D-bag. Oh, my God. He was such a marvelous a-hole. But we finally found it somehow, and we sat down and we took the first test, and then I think we took the second test, and they were like, "You guys are idiots," and then that was that. And then we also auditioned for Wheel of Fortune at
around the same time.
Yeah, it was a weekend of auditioning. We drove up to LA and auditioned for game shows. Our scheme didn't pan out.
I auditioned for Jeopardy on set. When it moved to Culver City, and it was there at Sony. I only did that once, and it's hard. The question
you'd be good.
I didn't get past the first round, but it's you were essentially given 50 questions, and you get 8 seconds to answer each question.
Yeah,
you essentially just have an answer sheet, and then they project the questions up on a board. You get 8 seconds to answer, and it's fast. I mean, you don't know an answer right away. They move on. It's done. And they always famously say, well, really 8 seconds is a luxury because on the show you really only get about 3. Yeah. Because by that point, someone else has answered it and you're moving on.
It's very different. It's tough because, being at home and I'm great.
Oh, yeah.
Playing Jeopardy, sitting in your room.
Laying in my bed.
Like, hey, what is the Ottoman Empire?
Yeah. Everyone is so dumb when they're on TV, and I'm so smart in my bed.
But when the lights are on, all that stuff's going on, man. It's
pressure.
A lot of pressure, and it's super exciting.
So since 1998, a Winnebago recreational vehicle dubbed the Jeopardy Brain Bus travels to conduct regional events throughout the United States and Canada.
Wait, when did that start?
1998.
Oh, man, that must have been a fun little party bus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, driving around the country, just administering tests to people.
The casting agents for game shows, man, they have to be so bubbly and so up.
Yeah.
And so, because the whole thing, here's the secret, folks. If you want to be on a game show and you audition for a game show, never stop smiling like a friggin' mental patient and never stop being excited. Clap. Never show any sort of like, this is stupid. Never ever drop this is the most exciting time of my life.
It is always the most exciting thing you've ever done.
And you'll get on. I mean, that's the whole point. They want people that are going to be excited and that people are going to root for. They don't want to, I think it's easier for Jeopardy because you can be a complete
kind of weirdo.
zero personality.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
What is the elm tree, Alex? That is correct. So, yeah, I mean, you got a little bit more of a personality leeway on the Smarties shows, but it's just, I mean, that's the thing. Just never stop smiling or being excited, and you'll get on your game show.
Participants who correctly answer at least 35 out of the 50 questions advance in the audition process and are invited to attend in-person group auditions throughout the country. At these auditions, a second written exam is administered, followed by a mock game and interviews. Those who are approved are notified at a later time and invited to appear as contestants. Eligibility is limited to people who have not previously appeared as contestants and have not been to an in-person audition for at least 18 months.
Yeah.
If you do want to audition now, I think it's at least 2 or 3 times a year they do, it goes regionally by time zone. But you can, it's one day, but you can do the test online, and they will, that way you don't have to leave your house or whatever. But I'm assuming for the second part they'll fly you in or have like a Zoom meeting or something.
When was the last time you auditioned?
For Jeopardy? About 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was online. It was for an online thing. I never hit the 35 threshold ever.
That's crazy.
I never do.
Yeah. I think it's just a mental block.
Probably. So the show itself, we've all seen it. We know how it runs. I want to talk some about the various record holders on the show.
Oh, yes. These super exciting people. I'd love to be at a dinner with all of these guys.
Actually, I would, to be honest, and I'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeopardy's record for the longest winning streak is held by Ken Jennings, who competed on the show from June 2nd through November 30th, 2004, winning 74 matches before being defeated by Nancy Zerg in his 75th appearance.
That was epic. And he also played Big Blue, the IBM computer.
He did. There was
lost.
a IBM computer match. Him and Brad Rutter played.
Yeah. The computer won, didn't it?
The computer won. It was a computer.
Computers always win.
He amassed $2,522,700 over his 75 episodes for an average of $33,636 per episode.
Nice payday.
Yeah, he did well. He was the first one to do more than 5 wins because when it first started in '84, they kept the champions at a 5-win max, and that was it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which at the time made sense, but it's a good thing they did this because Ken Jennings was kind of the reason that Jeopardy came back and became huge again in the early 2000s because everyone wanted to see when he was going to lose.
I think every game show, if you win, you should be able to come back.
Agreed.
Agreed.
You should play until you get beaten.
I agree.
Yeah. At the time, he held the record as the highest money winner ever on American game shows, and his winning streak increased the show's ratings and popularity to the point where it became TV's highest-rated syndicated program.
Nice.
Even beating out Wheel of Fortune, which is surprising because that show is a friggin' monolith.
Yeah, because people are dumb, and it's easier to do puzzle. That's peanut butter and jelly. I'm going to solve it. Peanut butter and jelly.
Since then, Ken Jennings has appeared on a number of game shows and holds the record for most money ever won by a single person on a game show or on game shows in America with $5,223,414.
Yes.
He's literally just made a career off this.
I tried to do that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
Time-consuming.
The record holder for lifetime Jeopardy-related winnings is Brad Rutter, who has won nearly $5.2 million in cash and prizes across 5 episodes of the regular series when the rules stipulated that a contestant who won 5 consecutive days had to be retired undefeated, and 7 Jeopardy tournaments and events, winning 5 of those specials along with 2 third-place finishes. Counting all the prizes that he won, he has achieved a cumulative total of $5,129,036 in winnings, just barely behind Ken Jennings.
Damn. And
he is very vocal about the fact that he's behind Ken Jennings in the winnings.
Vocal how?
He, all the time, him and Ken Jennings go back and forth on Twitter constantly.
They have a rivalry?
No, they're friends, but it's a friendly rivalry.
A couple of Jeopardy millionaires just tossing it around.
The holder for the all-time record of single-day winnings on Jeopardy is James Holtzhauer. James Holtzhauer is one of these people that you talk about who doesn't need to have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He is very odd, strange man.
Is he on this Twitter stream with the other Jeopardy millionaires?
No, I don't think so. But he's a professional poker player. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what you need to know. But he's also very much on the spectrum. He's a very interesting man.
No offense to our professional poker playing pals.
No, not at all. Not at all. Holzhauer first surpassed the record of $77,000 held since 2010 by Roger Craig when he earned $110,914 on the episode that aired on April 9th, 2019.
A lot of numbers, baby. These are a lot of numbers.
That's a lot of numbers. Holzhauer pushed his own single-day record to $131,000 on the episode that aired April 17th by amassing $71,000 over the episode's first 2 rounds, then successfully wagering an additional $60,000 in the final Jeopardy round.
Damn.
Like, that's ballsy.
Well, he's going for the record.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he knew the answer, whatever it was.
How? Because he has to make
he
the bet
knows
before they
all the
they
answers.
give the
These
answer
guys
out.
are the guys that know 99.9% of the answers. That's just how it is. Including over $58,000 from a 2014 appearance on The Chase, he is number 3 on the list of all-time American game show winnings with $3,022,549.
Well, these guys also have total recall, man. I mean, they have like whatever they read, they remember. It's just they have that that memory of
Yeah.
It's
just one of those. This is how their brain is wired.
they're just jerks, man. They're just jerks.
All right, that was the whole point of bringing them up, was to make you hate them.
Super smarty pants ass.
The record holder among female contestants on Jeopardy for regular series winnings is Amy Schneider, who just was dethroned earlier this year. She's won a total of $1,382,800. She currently ranks second all-time in consecutive games won behind Ken Jennings. She was awesome. Her run was really good. All 3 of the male players, Jennings, Rudder, and Holzhauer, starred in the revamped version of The Chase, hosted by Sarah Haynes, which just got renewed for a 3rd season. Quizmasters would take turns trying to defeat a trio of contestants each episode. They were joined by the original Chase quiz champ Mark Labette, who they call him the Beast, and he's such a weird man.
I don't know. This is all Greek to me.
Yeah. For the 3rd season, Labette's left for reasons unknown, along with Ken Jennings, because he's going to be hosting the Jeopardy! He's taken over for Trebek. They're adding in Victoria Gross, the Queen of Quizzes, Brandon Blackwell, the Speed Quiz champion, and Buzzy Cohen, a former Jeopardy champ.
Nice. So this is like instead of them being contestants, do the contestants try to beat them? Is that the deal with The Chase? Like
the whole deal is that they answer questions, they have a certain amount of money, and then you essentially answer the same question as the chaser.
Okay.
And
so you're betting on them?
No, you're trying to answer questions right before they catch you.
Oh.
So you can either get one question wrong and it's worth more money, or if you get 2 or 3, then it's worth less money.
Okay.
But and they don't always. I mean, I think they throw it a lot because there's a lot of times where they get away with stuff and it's kind of like okay. But Buzzy Cohen, the former Jeopardy champ who's going to be on the show, many of his victories were runaways, which allowed him to wager nothing and use his final response to make sarcastic remarks towards Alex Trebek, inspired by the Celebrity Jeopardy skits on Saturday Night Live.
S-word.
It literally became art imitating life, imitating art.
Nice.
It was super weird, but funny because, everybody knows the Celebrity Jeopardy
Meta
tournaments. The highest, speaking of Celebrity Jeopardy, the highest single-day winnings in a Celebrity Jeopardy tournament was achieved by comedian Andy Richter. During a first round game of the 2009 $10 million Celebrity Invitational, in which he finished with $68,000 for his selected charity, the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
I'm glad it's him.
Yeah, Andy Richter's awesome. He's actually a very, very intelligent man.
Oh, yeah, he's really talented.
It's just funny because he seems to play very dumb when doing the sidekick stuff.
He plays like man baby.
Yeah.
A lot.
But he's very smart.
He's hilarious.
He's very likable. He's very nice
he's
guy.
awesome.
Celebrity Jeopardy first aired on October 26, 1992. It features notable individuals as contestants competing for charitable organizations of their choice, or in the cases of public officials, relevant charities chosen by the Jeopardy production staff. Which I'm assuming they do because the public officials
conflict
can't show,
of interest.
Can't show,
It'd be some sort of favoritism or some sort of bribe. No, it's just all got to keep it above board.
Yeah. The tradition of distinctive Jeopardy matches featuring celebrity contestants goes back to the original NBC series, which featured appearances by such notables as Rod Serling, Bill Cullen, Art James, and Peter Marshall.
Ooh.
On the Trebek version...
Rod Serling.
Yeah, Rod Serling. He was a very smart guy.
Imagine if you will. Is that how he would...
Yeah.
Imagine if you will. The answer is... Folgers coffee.
I'm sorry, can we get that in the form of a question? On the Trebek version, Celebrity Jeopardy has traditionally been broadcast annually as a week-long event, and on occasion there has been a specific version of the event called Power Players Week.
Power Players Week.
It features personalities in politics and journalism.
Nice. The Smarties. Allegedly.
In the regular games, yeah, supposedly. In the regular games in which a player finishing the Double Jeopardy round with a 0/negative score is disqualified from playing the final Jeopardy round, but on Celebrity Jeopardy, it grants the players a given positive score with which to wager for the final round.
Can't make the celebrity sad.
Well, they have to give the money.
I know,
away.
it's for the charity. I'm just kidding. Easy, Adam. Easy
Well,
charity, please.
It was interesting because when the pandemic started, there was a bunch of celebrity version of game shows, and the main reason that the networks did it was because their budgets were too high, and they had to figure out a way to not pay taxes on this stuff. Oh. So they would just did hours and hours of celebrity tournaments, and they just gave money away to charity.
Crazy.
Since its debut, Celebrity Jeopardy has featured over 200 celebrity contestants, including
Anderson Cooper, Lauren Graham, Jodie Foster, Ashton Kutcher, Nathan Lane, Chris Matthews, Harry Connick Jr., Neil Patrick Harris, Lynn Redgrave, Lamar Burton, Andy Richter, David Duchovny, Wayne Brady, Star Jones, Jane Seymour, Jason Alexander, Regis Philbin, Pat Sajak, Sam Watterson, Mike Piazza, Larry King, Buzz Aldrin, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Tom Clancy, Kirsten Dunst, Naomi Judd, Kelsey Grammer, Charles Shaughnessy, Norman Schwarzkopf Jr., Stephen King, woo, and Carol Burnett, among others.
Yeah, among a lot of others, yeah. The final celebrity tournament was held in 2015, and in May 2016, the last Power Players Week tournament took place at the DAR Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C.
Why'd they stop?
I don't know. There's no record of why they stopped doing it.
Was it your letters? You would send so many letters complaining about Celebrity Jeopardy, how it, in your words, I'm doing the quoties, how it besmirched the purity of Jeopardy by putting dumb celebrities in there. You're dumbing it down. It was interminable that week. You would just stomp around the apartment screaming about Jeopardy and Jason Alexander.
I wrote a letter every week until they got Norm Macdonald on the show.
Nice.
And they never put him on.
They didn't. Well, because of your serial killer chicken scratch, they thought it was Norman Schwarzkopf, and that's who got on. And then you were like, I said Norm Macdonald, not Schwarzkopf, you fools.
On March 6th, 2019, Alex Trebek announced that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
The worst.
It was awful.
One of the most painful.
Yeah. Not pleasant. He fought it for 20 months. I mean, the man went through hours of chemotherapy.
And still did the show. What a friggin' trooper hero. I mean, I'm sure that helped with his recovery, keeping busy and doing the thing that he loved. But, man, I don't know if I have that constitution. That's incredible. And a guy who's, in almost 80.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it now, and I'm like 30 years younger than him.
On November 8th, 2020, Trebek died at his home in Los Angeles after 20 months. But he wasn't... I think a lot of him still working goes to the fact that he was just a really good person. Like, he was a huge philanthropist. Mm-hmm. The man gave away millions of dollars. He earned 32 Daytime Emmy Award nominations for Best Game Show Host. He only won 8, just behind Bob Barker, who won 14 out of 23. But he donated so much money because he was Canadian, and so he would give money to the Canadians for education and stuff.
He's a guy who got it. He's a guy who's like, I hit the lottery. I got to do something that I love for decades. And it was popular, and people loved it, and it brought joy and knowledge and laughter and whatever to people. And he got to do it until the day he died, almost. And so, of course, he's one of the good guys. And mostly it's the guys from Canada, let's be honest. There's a niceness there. But he realized how fortunate he was, and he gave back. And he never took for granted the lottery that he hit. And he wanted to give back and help others who aren't as fortunate. I mean, he gets it. A lot of people don't.
A lot of people just cocoon themselves into some sort of compound and, shut the world off and, whatever. But this guy, he was a hero, not because of what he did on screen, but what he did off.
Yeah, he supported education. He wanted everybody to have the chance to learn. It's part of the reason that when he announced he had cancer and they had talked about him retiring and getting out even before he passed, they were trying to find a replacement, and this is part of the reason that it became a huge deal. Like, Mike Richards was going to host the show.
Yeah.
He was an executive producer, and then a bunch of stuff came out about him kind of being a dick. And
some bad tweets.
Had some not good stuff. And he voluntarily was like, all right, like, I'll step back because...
Well, he also kind of gave himself the job.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It was a little untoward to be like, oh, I've been searching everywhere. Hey, guys, I can't find anybody better than me. Honestly, I mean, it was tough, but it's me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it. What do you think?
Dick Cheney,
Yeah.
who was I want you to find me a vice president. Can you find me a vice president? Well, I searched everywhere, and that person is me.
There's only one guy, and that guy's me. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what to do, and you're going to do it.
Yeah, it's
Now bend over, Georgie.
But I'll say, I mean, it's filling Alex Trebek's shoes. It's not just being good at the show, and being good at hosting.
No.
Like, you have to be a good person.
And you have to connect with the audience because the audience is very spoiled and picky. They want LeVar Burton, or they want Mayim Bialik, or they want so-and-so.
Ken Jennings.
But, I mean, I don't know if these people, who do you think has the personality to host the show? Who do you think
honestly,
should?
Ken Jennings.
He's the guy?
He is such a personable, he's just very casual.
Well, you're a
He's
super
very
fan.
down to
That's
earth.
why I ask you, because you are a super fan.
I watched, LeVar Burton was great. I mean, he's fantastic. He has the hosting down. Mayim Bialik is very smart. Mm-hmm. I don't think she hosts the show very well.
Yeah. Well, look, hosting is a talent. It isn't, you can't just be, he's an actor, so he can host.
Yeah.
Hosting is a completely different animal, and you have to be, there are certain people that can do it. A lot of, there's shows that lend themselves to, like, Jane Lynch being the host because she's a comedian, and that she's a great person to host that show. Comedians do a great job hosting game shows because they're great at building energy and keeping things going.
Yeah.
Mayim Bialik, she's on comedy shows, but she's
she has a PhD. Like, she's very smart.
But she's not a personality.
But I was rewatching.
She was on Blossom. Her and Six, man, they got into a lot of shenanigans, but... Blossom, Six.
I was watching the tournament. It seems the way that it's shaken out is that Ken Jennings is going to host the syndicated show, and whenever they do the primetime stuff, Mayim Bialik is going to be the host.
All right,
which is fine. But I was watching they did a longer college tournament version, and it's fine. It's good, but she just doesn't have the same personability that Trebek had.
Nobody's going to beat Trebek, man. Nobody. It's just like most of these folks that we talk about, whether it was last month with these animators like Charles Schultz and Chuck Jones, there's still good cartoons and good comic strips, but there's never going to be another of those guys, and there's never going to be another Alex Trebek.
No.
And Jeopardy, even though there were other incarnations and there were other hosts, most people alive today associate Jeopardy and Alex Trebek, as just, sewn together at the
it
hip.
is. Alex Trebek is Jeopardy.
Exactly. So it's very difficult for people. Change is difficult to begin with.
Right.
Americans, we're very stubborn, but forced change, and then then we have this. This whole like ridiculous sense of ownership that the fans have, and so then all the name calling and BS and besmirching of these poor people that are just looking for a job. It's like Mayim Bialik isn't a horrible person because she wants to host Jeopardy. No. It's just a job to her, you trolls. So back the F off. It's I get it. It's something precious. There's things that are very precious to me. I love Jeopardy. I watch it. I watch it with you. I'm not. I don't watch it religiously.
Yeah.
But when I catch it, I enjoy it. I enjoy game shows. I'm not as big a fan as you, but I do enjoy game shows. But it's just, I get things being precious, but come on, people. You got to let go. It's sad and it sucks.
Yeah.
But either
Yeah.
you shut the show down,
Right.
or you
right.
put up with another host. And all these people are capable, no matter it's not like they're
Yeah,
picking
yeah,
a bunch of it's not like they got Dennis Rodman, and
Tom
Michael
Green.
Flynn to host the two versions. Come on.
Oh God. And that's the thing with Mayim Bialik. Like, sure. I mean, I don't think she's great right now, but she's capable, and
She could get better.
And she just started doing it.
Exactly.
So it's like, all right, fine.
And
like,
the amount of pressure that you must feel to get into those shoes. I mean, and you know who the first person would be to be super encouraging to all of them?
Yes.
Is Alex Trebek.
Yes.
And you know who'd be the last person who want anybody to besmirch or to be pissy about any of this? Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
So in his honor, just back the F off, weirdies.
Yeah.
What is slow your roll?
His actually a little bit of trivia. His last appearance on any media, Alex Trebek's last appearance was on Free Guy, of all things.
Oh,
playing himself just randomly when they were talking about who's this Free Guy.
What is a Ryan Reynolds movie?
And it was yes, and it was very obvious. It was nice to see him on it, but it was very sad because it was very obvious he was very deep into the cancer at that point.
Well,
And-
you can't hide it. It's the worst. There's nothing worse.
But I will say, I still think that we can critique. I still think that we can complain. It's just that at the end of the day, you can't complain about someone just because of who they are.
Be civilized about it. There's nothing
Yes.
wrong with saying, I don't think that your skills are as good as this other person's skills. Your skills at this are great, but not everybody's everything, and not everybody can do
and
everything.
The
and that's
loudest,
fine.
the loudest critics are the ones who don't actually watch the show and don't actually pay attention to what is going on.
It's like we talked about with The Simpsons. The people that are like, The Simpsons is a piece of crap. And when was the last time you watched it? I never watched that show. Well, then how would you know?
I guess you don't have
Well,
an
I've seen
opinion.
clips. I've seen other people's opinions.
I've seen things taken out of context and I don't like it.
Yes, I've seen memes. But yeah, I mean, come
But
on.
just to nerd out for a moment,
Sure.
I will say
Like John Cornyn?
The main reason that's why I said it. The main reason that I'm not a huge fan of the way that Mayim Bialik hosts it is because Alex Trebek, and granted it's because he started in '84,
Sure.
but he had a card for every question, and he had read all those questions before, and he knew what the right answer was.
Right.
Mayim Bialik has a screen in her podium, and she waits for the judges to say yes or no. And there is a slight pause between someone answering and her saying yes or no, and it completely, to me, ruins the flow of the show.
So it's the rhythm. You don't like the way that she F's up the rhythm.
Show gets flows weird, and I'm like,
makes
sometimes
sense.
she'll catch it and know that it's the right answer, but there's always just that little bit of pregnant pause, and I'm like, ah.
Well, it is a show that is very reliant on the rhythm because if
Yeah.
it doesn't move in a certain way, it can drag.
Yeah, yeah,
and get
oh, yeah.
boring. You got
Oh, yeah.
the whole thing is to keep it moving, keep people guessing. You know,
Too
It's just like,
many questions that they don't know the answers to, and you're just sitting there watching them being like, oh, I feel so dumb. Yeah, that's the worst thing to hear on Jeopardy.
and the answer was tulips.
Yeah.
we were
what
looking
is
for
tulips?
what is tulips.
Yeah.
All right, Jack. What is it going to be? I'll do presidential foibles for 300, Alex. All right. What was the president who had really smelly feet?
Also,
Chester A. Arthur? Nope. We were looking for Ronald Reagan. Who is Ronald Reagan?
to bring it back around to how people play the game and our press your luck guy who gamed the system, there was a trend in the last 10 years of how people play Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And now, and this is very evident in the college tournament. These young kids, people that are eventually going to be on the show later in life, they always want to try to find those first daily doubles, and it's just not interesting.
Oh yeah, and the way that they press the buttons and everything too, it's just like everything is so.
Yeah.
You know, there's no. It's just I get it. You know, I 100% get it.
I know,
But
I
you know, I've been on a button pressing show, and it's manic, but it's like it's funny because the thing is with Jeopardy is it's so up close and personal.
Yeah.
You know, most game shows, it's about the host and it's about what's going on and it's about this conceit of the show. There's some thing to spin or some, you know, big old, bonus round or some
Right,
giant, energy-driven machine or something. With Jeopardy, it's hello, Adam. How are you doing? I hear that you're really into model trains and that you like teaching a civics class at your local learning annex, and it's really good to see you.
Great. Can I have chickens for 500?
Chickens for 500. Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. And it's
Yeah.
just like these people don't have to have personalities.
No,
they
no,
don't have
'cause
to be
it's-
excited. They
it's-
just have to be smart. It's a
Yeah.
game show that is all you're a contestant because of merit.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you I wasn't able to get on the show of merit, but I could get on shows of goofiness. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It's like that's my strength. I can be goofy and
Yeah,
personable.
yeah.
But Jeopardy is not a goofy, personable show. It's a show of
not.
just straight ass knowledge, and you can be as. And I think what's so great about it is that if you are somebody on the spectrum, if you're somebody that has Asperger's, you could be on that show, and you can excel on that
Yeah.
show.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's something that is universal with that show. Is anybody could be on that show if you're
Yeah.
smart. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how fun you are. It doesn't matter if you I mean, hey man, when I come in there and watch those with you, 9 out of 10 times, one of the three looks like a potential serial killer.
That is very true.
And
That is
it
very
comes
true.
across as one too.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
how many bodies are in the basement there? Timothy.
Looking at James Holtzhauer.
I think that's the beauty of that show. That's different than any other show on TV. Game show.
This is why it is my favorite game show of all time, because it is very pure. It is just about the knowledge, and that's it. Doesn't matter who you are. If you have the knowledge, you're in.
Yeah.
And it's been referenced in some of my favorite movies and TV shows reference this stuff.
Sure.
Like Cliff Clavin being on and answering everything right and then getting the last thing completely wrong and losing everything.
It was so great. Yes, an amazing episode. Saturday Night Live, with Will Ferrell playing Alex Trebek, and he was very, and then you have Norm Macdonald, but Brett Reynolds, yeah, hey, you got it.
Yeah.
And then Ashworth. It's just, I'll take the rapist for 500 Alex.
Yeah.
Therapists. Even when it goes away, because it might go away.
It's possible. I mean,
It'll come back.
It still does very well, and it just even with Trebek gone, and
If it can
it'll be
survive the loss of Trebek, which I think it can, and I think he also made sure of that. I think he didn't want him. The thing about Alex, my old pal, because we used to have a lot of scotches over at the Brown Bunny, the Brown Derby.
The Brown Bunny.
The Brown Bunny.
Very different.
We watched that movie with Vincent Gallo.
Hang out
and-
watching it together.
Yeah, that was our kink.
was a
That was
weird
me and
night. It was
Trebek's
a-
kink.
Scotch and Brown Bunny.
Scotch and Brown Bunny. We'd call it our Scotchy Bunny nights.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Hey, Jim. No, the deal is that the concept of the show works well enough that yes, most people don't realize it was on 3 times before 1984.
I think what I was trying to say
Yeah.
was Alex Trebek never wanted to be bigger than Jeopardy.
Yes.
Jeopardy was the focus. So when he knew that his time was coming to an end,
Yeah.
he was very low key about it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to make it about him. He was low key about his saying goodbye and thanking people.
Yeah.
It wasn't. That's what I mean. He's a humble. From Saskatchewan. No, he's a humble Canadian.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's the same
he
as
knows
like
what it's about.
The Charles Schultz, it wasn't about him.
Right.
It was about the thing.
Right.
It was about you connecting with that thing.
Right.
And doing that. And Trebek knew that. I mean, they were very lucky that Trebek found Jeopardy and Jeopardy found Trebek.
Yeah, it was kismet, and it's one of those great Hollywood stories that just, if Lucille Ball didn't mention a Merv Griffin, which is so weird, if she didn't say, "Hey, you should try out this kid Trebek, even though he's got that curly hair and a mustache, he's got it going on.
He can catch so much cocaine in that
Oh,
mustache.
that sounds really good. Yeah. My wife came up with the idea. yeah, wives are good for that. Oh, hold on. Ball balls, smooth.
All right, we're out of time. We'll be back next week with another wonderful game show.
The Price is Right.
Second favorite game show of all time for very different reasons. In fact, probably the opposite reasons for Jeopardy.
Yeah, I love that show. We have some fun stories about that show.
Oh, we got some fun stories.
But yeah, we'll come on down next week. Woo-hoo-hoo. Clappings.
Trebek on Alex, Jesus.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Fantasy Island, already in progress.